Okay, we are going to start because we tend to run out of time. I know I took every minute on my last call, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in. This is call number 5, and we are going to talk about recruiting. And this is a great activity. I know that, Tristan, you recruited. You understand what the process is, but we can all get better at recruiting. And what we really want to do about recruiting is make it about them. We want to have fun ways to get people engaged. We can't oversell it, but we just kind of have snippets. But one thing that I've done in the past, and I found it worked really well, is instead of talking about my success, I try to talk about other people's success. So I've taken the Life Tastes Great flyer and a hole punch, and I punched out all of the heads, and sometimes I kind of had to fold it a little bit and get in there and punch little things right here. But when I'm talking about recruiting, I say, I do have flyers for everybody who wants to take some information home about the business. And I promise that yours is not going to have holes all in it. But I do this because I want you to understand you can earn a trip, that you can make these money, that you can get a promotion and go into management with the Pampered Chef. So I just kind of make it a little bit fun. So if I ever talk about something that I've been blessed with my Pampered Chef business with, you can put yourself in the picture and just realize that this is happening to a lot of people of all different ages and sizes and ethnicities and everything across the country. And you can totally put yourself in the picture if you want to give yourself a Pampered Chef business. So just kind of a fun little way to do it, and you can take an old flyer and do this, or you can take new flyers, whatever you have in your office. It really isn't about what you're giving people. This just makes a dramatic statement. Everybody will pay attention, and they will start realizing that they can make great money with the Pampered Chef. And then when you sprinkle it throughout and you have us laying around, even if somebody comes in late and they see this, they might ask their neighbor, well, what's with the holy pamphlet, Anyhow, just a fun idea. Again, fun in your business is so important. And I think a lot of times we think we have to be the perfect Pampered Chef consultant before we can start recruiting. And honestly, there are people out there that are better than you already, and there are people who are never going to do anything with business, and that is not your job, is to figure out who's going to be successful and how successful they are going to be. It is your job to invite them into the business. And that shy little gal who really needs to make her mortgage to keep from going bankrupt might be your next rock star, and she might overcome stuff. Or it could be that ultra successful person who told you how great they were with another company might do nothing. You just don't know. So I am a little voice challenged tonight. I've been sick for the last couple of days, but I am committed to this call 5, and we are going to get through it. So I don't know, Tristan, if you are going for re-promoting yourself as a director. I know you're doing great and your team's doing great. And I know you were really happy with how fast your team qualified last month. Do you have any successes that you can share with us, or anything that you took action on from the last call? It's been 2 weeks.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Dina, you'll have to refresh me a little bit. What did we talk about last time? We talked about, was that the call where I shared?
Yes, you shared about your topper. We talked about invite and inform. The difference of giving information and inviting. So that was a lot about recruiting,
Right.
And they're going to have multiple times. Sorry, you've got some background noise. And just your way that you did the virtual opportunity, we had that as part of our call last time too. The digital interview cards, we're going to talk a little bit more about that tonight. We're going to take people through that again. That's something that's working. And it makes it about them. Again, anytime you can make it about them.
Right.
That is when people are going to start personalizing the benefits.
Right.
So, I had an epiphany, and I shared it on the last call that I just did on the 6 weeks to success, that I had an epitome about why I think we've lost some people on the calls who said they wanted to go to director. And that was that commitment we asked them to make at the beginning of the call. Call number 1, homework. I think we had 15 people listening to the call. And within, that 1 week of homework, they didn't want to make that commitment. And so I had this epiphany that we used to ask people on our contracts, our kit agreements, our ordering our kit forms, whatever you want to call them, we used to ask people to put 4 to 6 shows down and commit to those 4 to 6 shows. And a lot of people, they didn't know how they were going to go. I know with me, I need my first show to get a booking to put my second show down. And if I would have been asked to write 4 bookings down, at the time, I just ordered my kit and I got going. But if they would have asked me to write 4 down, I would have to lie, which I wouldn't have wanted to do, or not sign up as a Pampered Chef consultant. I did not know where my first shows were going to come from. I was in a high-risk pregnancy when I signed up, and it took me 3 months to get going and to meet people because we had just moved. And honestly, when you're in high-risk pregnancy, you don't leave your house much. Especially if you have a 5 and a 6-year-old that are keeping you busy and they've got every minute of walking around time that you have going on. Right. So I had this epiphany that we asked people to make this commitment, and that scared people off. And I think if they would just jump in and start doing these exercises and commit to moving forward in their business, that as they see success, they're going to gain momentum and they're going to feel comfortable. But asking people up front to make that commitment was scary to people.
Right.
And then I think we lost a lot of people at that point. So I'm hoping to reconnect with those 15 people who started and have them watch this and understand that sometimes we put the cart before the horse. And that we really need to do it in the right order. And the thing about this Director Bound program is that you can start at any place on any of the calls and just jump in and start doing the exercises. The videos are great, that are our homework links, and it's absolutely fabulous. So I just kind of wanted to reiterate that this is a personalized program, that some people do really good with a commitment form. A lot of people do have a nice, great schedule, and other people are like me. They started their business on a hope, a dream, and a prayer. And we just hoped it all worked out, and I was flying by the seat of my pants, and it all worked out. And, the more fun you have in the business, the more gimmicks that you can just kind of intersperse to get attention and stuff, make it light and fun and brief, the more successful you're going to be. So I heard somebody's doing these little pumpkin donut things, and then they're using them as a recruiting thing by picking them up and going, hey, does anybody have a hole in their budget that they need to fill with Pampered Chef? They're saying that 89% of the people who sign up to do Pampered Chef are signing up for income. They have a hole in their budget. And again, that's a cute way to sell it. It's fun right now to be doing those pumpkin donuts. We're going to get the recipe and post those together. But they're baked donuts. They're healthy donuts. They are certainly healthier than regular donuts. They're not fried. Okay, so again, freshen it up every once in a while, try something new. But once you are into the interview and having the opportunity to chat, this is what tonight's call is all about. So we have the informing, we have the inviting, and now we have the interview. And the interview is we're going to use these little cards. So go here. Is it on my desktop? There it is. Good. Interview cards.
Is this the electronic ones?
Yeah. I'm trying to get the electronic ones up.
You took them out.
I see them.
Yep. Okay.
Do
Yay.
slideshow.
Okay.
Start from beginning.
All right.
And where are these, Dina? They're on consultant.
These are
Director's Bound.
on the Director Bound program. And they are on the resource for call number 5.
So does everybody have access to them, or do I need to get them to my team?
I think there's someplace else too.
Okay.
I'll find out where else they are. I think they're located in a couple of,
Julie just posted one last time.
yeah. So you know this cute little grab a spoon little
Mhm.
thing right here? Did you know that Siri, you can tell Siri how to address you? And so like if you want to have, you have a cute little name like Pampered Chef Queen or the Pampered Chef Lady. I've always had the mantra, someone's in the kitchen with Dina, and I hope it's you. So I could have Siri address me as someone's in the kitchen with Dina. And then when I have contacts and share contacts with people, right under my name, it will put what Siri calls me. So any of you who have iPhones, that's a great little way to give yourself a little title, like grab a spoon or hashtag someone's in the kitchen with you. So, whatever you want to do there. So life tastes great. And again, Pampered Chef has a wonderful marketing team. When they come up with these little taglines, life tastes great, or grab a spoon, these are things that we can use at our shows. One of the things that you could do to add interest at your shows is you could have a whole series of bamboo spoons that you write in marker on them. The interview, you know, the reason why people might join the business. Basically, use the cards, write it on the spoon, have it in a little jar at your shows, and you just spend 5 minutes grabbing a spoon. You might not go over everything, but 2 or 3 spoons, and maybe people are looking at them. You can use Pampered Chef's idea. So the very first thing is you want to make it about them. And you want to have a little chat with them about their family, their interests, their occupation, previous occupations, and your dreams. One of the things that I like to ask people about is they say, well, I haven't been in the work field for a long time. I'll say, oh, did you do an individual sport? Or did you play a musical instrument? And when they tell me that kind of things, I write it down. Because people who have done sports and people who have done musical instruments, they know how to practice. They've learned about self-discipline, and they've learned about playing on a team, playing in the band, things like that. And those are all kinds of information that you can draw on later on when you're training them to get them to understand that they do have the skills that they need to be successful. And then again, your dreams. This you might want to phrase differently. Most people do not have dreams anymore. They just are filling a niche and going to work, but they don't know how to dream. They don't believe it's possible. So one of the things that you might want to say is, you know, do you have any special trips you'd like to take with your family? Would you like to take your kids with your family? Are there any pool passes or piano lessons or special field trips, like, your kids going to Washington, D.C., earning money, things like that, that you might have as some short-term goals, where Pampered Chef could help you add some new furniture, get carpet replaced, have a kitchen remodeled. Is there anything like you want to do on a short-term little list that Pampered Chef could help you with? So sometimes with the dreams, you're going to have to kind of give them some ideas, and then they go, oh, well, I really want to go to Hawaii, or I never took a honeymoon with my husband. Things like that, that they're going to realize, oh, if I want to go to New York with my husband on a little honeymoon, we're going to need $1,000. And if we need $1,000, that means that I'm going to need to do 7 to 8 shows to earn that kind of money, and I could accomplish that dream. So don't be afraid to bring people into the business for the short-term goals as well as the long-term goals. Because when people like it and they're getting bookings, that's when people stay. Okay, so you're asking these questions again, you're asking them, maybe to answer 2 or 3 of those things, not go through every single detail. They might tell you a lot about their occupation and nothing about their family. They might tell you all about their dreams and nothing about their occupation. You don't have to do every single one of those. But basically, you want to get them talking about themselves and understanding that this is about them and that they get to do their business their way. It's just like a Whopper. You get it your way. Would you like to know more or just how to get started? And how I phrase this is, do you have any questions that you'd like me to answer? Or are you ready to jump in and just order your kit? Again, you can use your words here, but it's leading you, guiding you. They're reading that. Again, when you deviate just slightly with your own comfortable words, it doesn't seem kind of like such a canned, rehearsed kind of thing. Again, just a little bit of practice will help you. So if they tell you that they have some questions for you, then, you are going to, click on this, and you just say, now, the night of Cheryl's show, you check the box that you are interested in getting some more information. And a lot of times I have their drawing slip laying there for them to see that they checked the box. So remember that they initiated this, okay? But I could say to them, what was said or happened, or your past experience, or something you saw in the catalog that made you check that box? Was it, the opportunity to earn money, have leadership, have a great time, the support and training that you get, the flexibility that I have loved that has blessed my family so immensely over the years, how easy it is to do, your own business. Every time I drive by buildings that, used to be a big business and they're out of business, I think, how many millions of dollars, were lost when somebody's dream didn't succeed. And with Pampered Chef, you basically get 75% off of the most popular products out there. You jump in and you see if it works for you.
Right.
It's not millions of dollars. It's starting up a business where you have to find a building and sign a lease and order in products and know that you're going to make payroll for 6 months. That's scary. Pampered Chef is easy. Let's give it a try. Okay. If they say they just wanted to get started, then you say, okay, it's easy to get started. You can just come to my next show and I'll do some training there. We're going to schedule your grand opening. You're going to get your kit order. You're going to come to our next team meeting or join us on a Zoom meeting, or I'm going to send you some YouTubes to watch. Our training call tomorrow will be at such and such. You want to, like, if you just had your team meeting the night before, you want to come up with something a whole lot sooner than that. If you have a regular show schedule, even if it's a virtual show, invite them to be on your next virtual show with you. So just getting them engaged right away is key. Ordering that kit. I still like to take paper contracts to a show. If somebody says they're ready to get started, I just whip out a paper contract, get the money and their credit card from them. And, you know, during the time I'm working with other customers and stuff, I input it all, make it super simple, and get their kit ordered. As soon as they sign their paper, they're not going to go home and change their mind. So anyhow, which kit fits you? So then you have to decide on that. I know that I have done this before, but I'll do it again. Basically, the smaller starter kit, if you get the manual food processor, the large round stone, and a batter bowl, you spend $109. You get everything else for free. Deluxe kit. If you get the rock crock, the small baker, and the manual food processor, you spend $159, you get everything else for free. So having one of these at your shows and putting little stars on the 3 items that total the amount of the kit, people start to understand what's 75% off. There are a certain number of people who are going to sign up for the kit, and a certain number of people who are going to do nothing that signed up for the kit, but a lot of people who are going to give it a try. So again, selling the kit is just part of selling recruiting. Not a big deal. You're not going to get your hand slapped. Nobody is recording the number of people that didn't get going and holding it against you. Okay. Again, the deluxe kit, best bang for your buck, and
Are you recording?
Something that works.
Around the world? Go back to our bed.
Okay. So then when you get started, you know, you need to know, like, how I got started 25 years ago is different than how people get started now. Every once in a while, I have to go through this process and get refreshed so I can tell people how to do it, you know? Basically their email address, verify their email address. It's very similar to setting up their account as a customer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Let's just click on it.
Yeah, it's clicking it. I'm sorry.
Over here and then yes, you can click all of them. Yeah, and then just add them to the next one.
It really likes this link a lot. Okay, so ordering the kit. The chef is going to welcome them. And that's it.
That's it.
So
Easy peasy.
really, one of the most important things is this right here. And this is where you're going to start getting objections. You know, people might tell you what they're interested in. And at the end, you know, they've told you that they need to earn money. And then they say they don't have the money for the starter kit. So how are you going to overcome that objection? You know, what are you going to say? So we are going to go through the opportunity chat. Okay. So we are going to go in here with the opportunity chat. Okay. So here's a script for you. Again, I always recommend that people personalize it, but there's nothing wrong with sharing this with a consultant on screen or putting this in your iBooks and go with them and just say, you know, I hate to have an experience where I go home and I go, oh, I forgot to tell her about this. Oh, I forgot to tell her about that. Oh, I blew it there. So this just keeps me from chasing squirrels and nuts. So then you also know you can start recruiting from the very beginning and bringing people into business with you, because you can just go through this opportunity chat just like I'm doing with you tonight. So one of the things is you want to get acquainted. You might ask them about what they got excited about at Cheryl's show, and thank them for meeting you today. If you remember anything specifically about them, I like to write on the back of the drawing slips. I had this out earlier from my previous call that said grandmother, daughter, and baby, and I wrote that on there. And when I saw the drawing slip, I could remember, oh, those were the 3 women that I met at the vendor event that I did. So I like to write, and then I go, oh, okay, you were going to have a show with your daughter, right? And she just had the baby. And that is helping me get acquainted and build a rapport. The second one is they're saying build a rapport. Offer a compliment, refer to a common ground. Again, if you've written notes on your drawing slips, that's a great place to come back to, or ask them what they enjoyed about the party. That really helps. I'm not a super gushy, complimenty person. I just, I don't want to be fake. But there's almost always something. If you look around and you see, oh yes, you were the one that was really excited, or you had the great product knowledge, you shared about how you used the rock crock, things like that. And again, if somebody is indicated on the drawing slip the night of the show, writing that kind of information down helps you build this rapport. So if you're just like, oh yeah, I just loved the way you interacted at Susie's show, and they didn't say a single word, you know, that's not building a rapport, that's seeming ingenuous. So I'm not saying that word right. Okay, so, you know, and then take the time to get better acquainted. Just say, you know, have you ever done anything like this in the past? Do you have any job skills from other jobs that will help you with the Pampered Chef? You know, or maybe you're super organized, or maybe, you know, you have background in public speaking, whatever it is. And then also letting people know all different kinds of people do this and are successful. I'm not looking for a particular kind of person. I'm looking for somebody who has a need that Pampered Chef can fill.
I like that.
So that's a great way to segue into the digital interview cards, and that you are looking for people who have different needs that Pampered Chef can fulfill. So then you just say, you know, I'm going to go through the presentation. It's going to help me stay on track. I kind of already said that at the beginning. You know, so first of all, I'd like to get to know you better, and this is going to help me figure out what you really like. So let me just start doing this, okay? I kind of jumped in a little bit earlier. So if they say that they don't have any dreams, a great thing to say is, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you like to do with your business? Do you have any home improvement things you'd like to do? Are you replacing any vehicles? Do you want to do any special trips with your husband or significant other? Do your kids have any special needs that need to be taken care of? Things like that. A lot of people don't identify themselves as dreamers necessarily, but when you start talking to them about concrete things like paying off their credit card, getting debt-free, just not having such a squeaky tight budget every single month, they start to realize that if they went out to do 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 4 to 5 shows each month, they could change their life. And then also let them know that you would be happy to help make their plan. Right now, Pampered Chef is introducing the income generator. And it'll show you based on the consultants. So Tristan, you can do this with each of your team members, as you can go in, figure out what the party average is, they wanted to say make $1,000. It clicks on that and it can start showing them, and it's called the Income Generator Calculator. Just like our trip calculator, there's going to be an income generating activity. You can also use your personal one to show how you can increase your own income and share that with them.
Yes.
So that's something new that you can introduce to them. That got introduced last week at executive seminar, and we've already got it out there and letting us start to use
Great.
it. Yeah. All right. So, and then let people know. When I started out, I just wanted a little bit of extra money so that I could buy my husband's birthday gift without asking him for the money. I wanted to get a housekeeper, which he just did not see why I wanted a housekeeper. But it was just something that I wanted on my own and I wanted to pay for. Just some of those things. And as it morphed into one of my kids needing to go to a special school, I was able to pay that $12,000 a year tuition with my income and just take care of the things that needed to happen, the extras in our lives. And some people just need it for everyday life. As we said, 89% of the people join this business to make income. You know, they got a hole in their budget. So, and then we go into the tell me more, get started slide. I kind of talked about that. And then when they're ready to get started. If they say they're not ready to get started, that's where this opportunity chat really comes in handy. So there's a couple of things. Long ago with Pampered Chef, we had a director training called The Question Behind the Question, QBQ. And you can find this as a self-help book. But basically, people sometimes are really shy or a little intimidated, and they don't necessarily tell you their big reason first. They tell you the reason that they think you're going to buy. So they could say, well, I'm not sure I have the money to order the kit. And so one of the things that you can say is, if I could help you figure out a way to pay for the kit, is there anything else that might be holding you back? You know, if they say, well, what's keeping you from saying yes today? And they say, well, I want to make sure my husband is supportive of this. Then you want to ask, well, if we can meet together with your husband, maybe my husband will be in town, 4 of us can sit down and talk about this, and we get him on board, is there anything else keeping you from saying yes? So you don't want to go through a series of hurdles where you get their husband on board and then they go, well, I don't have the money for the kit. Okay? You want to get that all out there. And so you just keep digging a little bit and just, oh yeah, I can tell you 5 different ways that you can earn the money for the kit that other people have used in the past. It's really been helpful. So we can handle that. Is there anything else that's holding you back? So if they say, you know, if they say, well, I just need to think about it. One of the things that I share with people when they say, oh, I just need to think about it, I say, you know, I had a friend who was at one of my very first shows, and she sat back and watched me do the business for 6 months. I did a show for her. Her show was very successful. She had 13 bookings. I did the 13 bookings. Then a few months later, she said, I want new living room furniture. I want to do the Pampered Chef. I had run through her bookings, and she said, well, I told you I was thinking about it earlier. Why didn't you make me do this? You know? And I was like, why didn't I make her do that? And she started earning bonuses and was a top seller. She figured it out. She earned her furniture. And she came back to me and she goes, I wish I would have started this earlier. And I didn't know these techniques. I didn't know to dig a little bit deeper. And that she really wanted me to say, I want you on my team. And I just learned a lot. I remember her name was Anne. And I just thought, oh, well, I don't want to make anybody do this. But then I realized that I hadn't done the thorough interview with her and found out what her goals and her dreams were. She wanted that furniture 3 months earlier, 6 months earlier. She just didn't know that she could come in and just do the furniture. And then when she found out how good she was at it, of course, she wanted to stay, and she was on my team for a couple of years. So anyhow, don't, just make it about them. Don't be afraid to hear the word no. Okay, so if they say they're ready to get started, don't continue to answer questions. Just open up and say, which kit do you want? Let's get this party started. Let's get it ordered. Tap the tell me more slide if they want more. Go back to what they told you. So if they say they want freedom and flexibility, one of the things I'd say, okay, so when do you want to start your flexible job? If they say they want money, when do you want to earn that first paycheck? If they say that they want to come to a meeting and have some great friends and have a good time, I'll just say, our next meeting is on such and such time, or I'm doing this vendor event, you can come with me, whatever. But I make sure that I revisit what they told me, that they always wanted to have their own business, that they wanted to have a fun job. And one of my best directors on my team when I got started was a nurse, and she was a ICU nurse. I'm not saying that right. Critical care nurse. Anyhow, she always joked with people that she had a life and death job, and then she had a fun job with Pampered Chef. And she said, but if I get too close to you and I have something sharp in my hands, run, because I might think I need to give you a shot or put in an IV. But she made it fun, and she got a lot of people interested, because a lot of people have that job that is life or death, or it is a lot of stress. And she just made it look like a lot of fun when she did her Pampered Chef business, and that was enticing to people. So again, you can round back to, these are the main reasons that people decide to do Pampered Chef. So let's talk about what's important to you. Maybe there's something that's not on the list. I know that I have dyslexia and dysgraphia, and then one of the things that I did Pampered Chef was for self-esteem reasons. That's not really listed up there, but I had something to prove to myself and prove to my family, and I wanted to be successful, but I didn't want to have a 9-to-5 job. I needed to have a 5 to 9 job twice a week, as opposed to a 9-to-5 job 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. So you can say what stands out on the card, and it just keeps going. At this point, you're talking about half the time, and they're talking about half the time. But if you start talking more than that, you are not doing what you need to do. You need to have them engaged in answering questions, and try not to answer try not to ask the yes and no questions. Try to get them to expand on things. The more you can get them to talk, the better it's going to be. Because you don't want to sell it to somebody. They want to sell it to themselves. You don't want to talk them into it. They need to talk themselves into it. That's when somebody's going to stay engaged. I'm a pretty good salesperson. I don't want to talk people into doing this. I want them to do it because they love it. Okay, so a wrap up. A lot of people don't want to ask the hard question of, are you ready to order your kit? Because they don't want to hear the word no. Or they don't want to hear maybe. And again, the script helps you with, what's stopping you from saying yes today? When would you like me to get back to you? How much time do you need to think about it? Can, I just call you in a couple of days? Is there a specific support person that I can meet with you? And I can help them answer the questions so you feel more confident. whatever it is. If they say no, accept it graciously and keep the relationship going strong. So just say, I really want to thank you for your time. I appreciate that it's not right for you right now, but if anything ever changes, I would love to be the one that you would work with. I would like to give you some material, and if you ever go to a show and get super excited, I hope you can find me in your phone and you'll call me, because I would be really, really disappointed if I heard you signed up with somebody else, because I see this and this and this, and I want you on my team, and I'm super excited, because I think that bubbly personality, I think that the way you were talking about your rock that night really would make a great consultant, and I'd love to have you on my team, and I think at that point, you can just kind of let them know that you're giving them information, you're answering questions, and then you don't want them to get excited and go with somebody else. Then you can say, I understand no, but is it no, not now, or no, never, ever, ever, ever? And if they say, well, it's no, never, ever, 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 I just can't see myself doing this, you go, well, I love my great customers and hostesses. I hope we can continue this relationship with you being a wonderful host or customer. And anytime I can ever do anything or customer service for you, or you have any referrals for me, I would really appreciate you thinking about me. And that's it, Something that I showed on the other call, I created my own, basically, business card. Okay. All right, I'm going to come to new share, select camera, share screen. Okay. So this worked last time. Okay. All right. So I created all my information under Pampered Dina. Okay. Right there. And then I just go to share contact, and I'm able to text this to people, and then they can just add it to their phone really quick. So instead of me asking them, hey, can you put me in under Pampered Dina so you can remember who I am? They won't remember my whole name, but they'll remember Pampered. And as soon as they put that in, guess what? It's going to show up in their contacts. So at your shows, you can open a text message and pass around the phone and ask everybody to put their cell phones in there, and then just push and share your contacts and get people to add them right there at your shows too. Vendor events, I'm doing this one-on-one. I shared this with Julie Ritter on the bus to the airport, and hers, underneath her, she created it, and right underneath it, instead of Pampered Chef, it popped up Julie Ritter, Queen of the Universe, because she makes Siri call her Queen of the Universe. Nice. And so whatever the title is, and so I've got to go in there and change that to someone's in the kitchen with Dina, and I hope it's you. So that when it comes up and I'm sharing the contacts, that my little tagline comes up in there. So do something fun like that. This really works. So hopefully you will have that. All right. So we've kind of gone through the chat and ending it. And, don't get offended if people say no. The more interviews you hold, the more successful you're going to be. So you want to have a lot of interviews, and you just know that it's not going to be for everybody. But the closer, the more often you do it, the more success you're going to have. Okay. So call to action. Continue doing the 24-hour calls with the goal of calling every host that you have in your database. Practice using the digital interview cards, downloading them into your iBooks so that you have them on your phone or your tablet. You can even print them and take them with you. When they first gave us the interview cards, they were a paper copy kind of thing. So you can, shrink them down and make them little cards too, in case you're doing this in person and you don't want to have it on your phone or your tablet. Again, we challenge you to have an opportunity chat. Even if you're practicing with somebody like your cousin who you want on your team, just ask her if she'll practice with you and go through it. Make 15 contacts a week outside of the party, your power hour, your booking and recruiting, and give, and then, you're going to be watching Julie Aldridge and Susan Warshay. And I have to tell you that Julie Aldridge is from the Midwest. I think it's Wisconsin or Minnesota or something like that. And it took me a little bit to get used to her accent. But I'm like, okay, this is really good information on recruiting. And the company part of it, and Julie, she is one of the trainers for Pampered Chef. So she comes out with some statistics and stuff from Pampered Chef that are really interesting. And then Susan Warshay is a very successful consultant who earned Excellence Award last year in recruiting. And she's going to give you some tips and tricks on the consultant side. So I think you're going to learn a lot. Please watch those videos, and then hopefully you'll be able to get back with us next week for our graduation and our week 6 call. So we are, we have 5 minutes left on the call. I just really wanted to tell you about a story about a consultant that was on my team. I kind of talked about Anne, who asked me, why didn't you make me do this? And I felt like, I don't want to be pushy. And yet, if she would have just had a little bit bigger nudge, then, she would have joined my team sooner. I wouldn't have done her 13 shows. Luckily, she had lots of friends, and she got started and was very successful. But I had another gal on my team who was a nurse, and she got laid off. She had 3 babies in 3 years, and she kept having maternity leave and kept taking time off from work, and she got fired. And that was against the labor laws, what they did. But in the meantime, she didn't have a job. She didn't have income. She had 3 little kids under the age of 3, and she was desperate. And she had gained a lot of weight in 3 pregnancies in a short amount of time and wasn't feeling the best about herself, was having a hard time with the job interviews, and she was at one of my first shows. And I talked about the business because my director said, you don't have a story, so tell mine. And I did exactly what my director told me to do because it had been working for me. And I mentioned that all the bookings that happened that night at her shows could be her first parties, and she would get started. Now, this show was not the smoothest show in the world. There were golf balls in the broiler pan that automatically turned on when we turned the oven on, and it actually smoked out the house. Golf balls really stink when they are cooked in the broiler. Long story short, she was on my team 5 years. And at the end of 5 years, she actually won her lawsuit. And she got back pay and all kinds of reimbursements from her lawsuit. But when she went back to work, she still had those 3 little kids in a short amount of time. And she said, I just can't do both and do it well. She said, but I want to thank you because you wanted me when nobody else wanted me. You gave me a job when nobody else would give me a chance. And I totally changed the way I thought about recruiting because I knew that I could help people and that people sometimes just need to know that you want them. And so that's my little story. It's a true story. Both of them are true stories, and I have many, many more because this has been an awesome journey. And don't worry about yourself in recruiting. Take yourself out of the picture. Make it fun. Put your fingers in there. That's why this could be good for them. Hope you have a great week. Any questions, Kristen?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Thanks for being on the call. Bye.
Bye.
What?